Hello. Let's see. Are you... Why is this not showing up? Because I'm seeing these. I may have to switch to a display capture instead of window capture. One moment. Display capture. Display 2. It's still too big. And then we move this. And down here. And here we are. Hello. Hello, the kids are asleep. Good to see you. So, let me make sure that my audio is happening. There's no game audio because this is a ttrpg. So that is that. It looks like everything else is fine. I wish I remembered where my like slightly darken the background thing is so that I could put that up for chat. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Add existing. That's chat label. What if I put in webcam? Nope, not that one. Not that webcam placeholder. It's too big. What if I put in this one? Yes. Okay, that I can do. So look at this here. We're gonna do that, and then that, and that should darken everything underneath. Yeah, so that should give us a nice little divider so that it's easier to see chat, if you want to see chat. So I am, let's see, let's RUNE resource page. I think I have one more of these. Open recent RUNE resources, quick start. Is that it? Yes. Okay, so we have one of these. We have one of these. So we're gonna zoom all the way back to page 1 on that resource page. Okay, so this is my get ready to do a fight thing. Grim Coast, this is the graphic I made. I don't need 2 of these. This is my resource page. Okay, so maybe I will actually use this because it has my health and stamina. Do you have a health and stamina page? No, you don't. Okay. So, can I just grab all of you, copy, come over here to resource page, and oh, okay, I already have you. Great. So I don't need 2 of you. Go there, come back here. So we've got the Grim Coast. This is the thing we're going to be doing, and then this is the RUNE resource page. So this is going to be Turbo the Engraved, because Engraved is the name for the character that you are in this game. So yeah, RUNE is a Solo Soulslike tabletop role-playing game by GilaRPGs, which is the publishing company of Spencer Campbell. And Spencer has made games like Slayers and Light and Nova. So a lot of the things that Spencer makes for GilaRPGs are like fairly action-oriented. Slayers is very fighting and combat, like combo-oriented. Light and Nova are kind of like video game combat themed, and RUNE is kind of a TTRPG in the style of Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro, and especially Elden Ring, because we have runes and great runes and things like that. So currently RUNE is on Kickstarter. for just 1 week. So 1 week campaign, they've already hit the goal. It's very overfunded. Let's see. They've got 802 backers so far, $18,454 USD of a $4,000 USD goal, 51 hours to go. So just over 2 days. Campaign has gone beautifully, which is great because having done a Kickstarter campaign, it's much easier once you're already funded. Before the campaign is funded, it's very stressful, or more stressful. So a few weeks ago, Spencer was recruiting people to play RUNE on stream during the campaign, and I said, hey, this looks cool, I'll check it out. And Spencer provided me with some resources to help make that go. And here we are today, and we're going to play RUNE. The Grim Coast is basically the tutorial realm that comes with the quick start that you can get right now at Spencer's itch.io page. Let me go find that link as well. So you can find that at GilaRPGs.itch.io. And I'm going to put that also here in the chat. So that's gilarpgs.itch.io/rune-qs for quick start. So that is all of that. The thing, so the thing to your question, the kids are asleep, is I'm going to start at point 1 here, and then there's going to be text for what I can do. This is kind of a point crawl game, and there may be special things that will happen to make it so that I can or can't take these different red dotted line paths. I have seen Spencer play one other realm that had more stuff happening in terms of like opening up paths and paths closing and things, but this is meant to be a tutorial, so it may be a little bit more straightforward as far as any of that goes. So because RUNE, like many Souls-like games, is all about the lore, I'm going to do my best to read the lore in a creepy, ominous, portentous voice. Grim Coast. Icy wind blows against your grave-marked skin. A heavy weight hangs in the air of the Grim Coast. Atop a hill in the distance, a singular keep stands above a desolate land. Carving the sigil into the ground, you prepare yourself. No, the laughing comes later. So, Dark Souls NPCs legendarily are like cryptic jerks and end their dialogue with in fact, Grant Howitt has just released a game about the creepy little guys who do that laughter at the end of their bit. I'm glad I'm entertaining. So this is a map of the Grim Coast. I am playing in Affinity Publisher because this is the program that I have that will let me edit PDFs in this fashion. I think the final product will probably be presented in a fashion that is prettier, so don't worry about that part. That part will get better, is my expectation. But it's already pretty cool. So this is the map of the Grim Coast. I am probably going to start at point 1 right here. So we're going to scroll down. Here's some information about how the Grim Coast realm works. Grim Coast Clock. The realm clock for Grim Coast tracks, I'm just going to put spaces in where I need them, tracks the day-night cycle of the islands. Sun and moon dance above at an accelerated pace. As they shift, so too does the realm. Grim Coast starts on day. The following actions will fill in a segment of the clock. The kerning here is all fucked up, and I don't understand why. That's fine. This is a quick start. I don't blame Spencer. I actually think it's something in how this is being parsed by Affinity. So the following actions will fill in a segment of the clock. Moving between points, completing any action at a point. When the clock is filled up, switch between day or night and reset the clock. The actions that are available at a point will depend on if it is day or night. There's clocks in this game, y'all. Because this is only a little 4 o'clock, I might try to see if I can do something fun that will look like it's actually filled in. Clocks, 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 exactly. pencil. Oh, do I need to go to designer persona so that I can do a line? Yeah, and then we turn this into pen. Where is my mode? There's a thing where I can make this be. No, that's not it. Undo add curve. Where is the thing? No, I don't own that part. Pen, pencil, vector brush. Is it vector brush? Blend mode. I had this. I made this work last time. Where did it go? Because there's like a mode thing where you can make it be a line. Rope mode, window mode. Rope mode, window mode, rope mode, window mode. I guess I can, no? Ah, here we are. We use the pen tool, and then I switch to line mode. Great. So this will let me make lines when I need to. But I guess we can fill. Can we fill here? Just go to black, and then no, go to black, and we do this. No? Okay, that's fine. I'll probably just make designs that are little filled in bits and we'll be fine. If I had prepared more, I could have got my clocks images from like Blades in the Dark things and I would use that, but I think we'll be fine. If a realm changes between day and night while you are at a point, it changes what options are available to you. Time your travels wisely. I'm just gonna fix that real quick. Again, quick start. So that tells us about the clock. Starting character. Choose any two starter weapons found at the end of this PDF. If you like, you can just take one starter. You can take one starter utility gear as well. You have 10 health and a stamina pool of 2. You start at sigil 1 on your map. And then there's a special thing about death, but let's scroll down. I'm going to be scrolling quickly if that's going to make your eyes sad. So just warning here. Here we go. So starter weapons. We can have a longsword, a shield, a great axe, an erupting flame. And for starter utility gear, we can have strider boots or crown of red. So I like the strider boots. No. What if I do this? We do copy, and then I go over to here, and then we paste. Here we go. Strider boots are my utility thing. And we're going to go back to Grim Coast. So that's my utility gear. So we can have Erupting Flame. I do almost always play a Pyromancer when I'm playing Dark Souls, so Erupting Flame is tempting. Oh wow, on the 6, deal 5 harm to same or adjacent enemy, take 2 harm. So I could do Erupting Flame and Shield, but I could not do Sword, Shield, and Erupting Flame. I feel like I have to obey, I have to honor my pyromantic tendencies and take the Erupting Flame. And then we're going to go back to here. Great Axe. Range 1 hand. Move, harm, cleave. So we do have the thing that gives us move if we don't get move. And I suppose we could do flame and shield. And we would always get at least 1 move. This is a weird build, and we'll find out if it works. All right, I'm gonna actually, nope. I'm gonna undo that. I'm gonna move these. No, let's not get fancy. So I have shield, and Erupting Flame. I am Turbo the Engraved. Can I be unitalicized? Oh, that's worse. Kerning. Kerning is cursed in this realm. And I have the Strider Boots. And if I have no move from weapons in a round, I can use the Strider Boots. And the effect says gain +1 move this round. Kerning the Cursed sounds like a TTRPG character. I love it. Also, we've got some lore on our gear. Shield, an instrument to ward off death, even if for a moment. And Strider Boots, an engraved must wander. Even when their weapons hang heavy, their feet march forward relentlessly. The kerning is cursed once more. Okay, so we have 10 health, 2 stamina, 0 lore, and then effects and notes. We'll get some special stuff at some point. And then this is where we will do fights. So Turbo has Erupting Flame, a shield, and Strider Boots. Let's go back here. I'm going to scroll a bunch. Whoop. Back to this. So, Death on the Grim Coast. When you die, resurrected Sigil 1 at full health. A curse hangs over you. Roll 1d6. So, when I die, I have to check for my curse. 1 to 3, -1 move in combat. 4 to 5, take +1 harm in combat. 6, -1 stamina in combat. The curse lasts until you complete a fight action at any point. So it's not the whole life, but it does make whatever that first fight is a lot harder. Cards of the Grim Coast. Enemy cards can be found at each point where they appear in fights. Cards for the starting gear at the back of the book, which I got. We're playing the Grim Coast. After completing the Grim Coast, try it again using some of the gear you found, or try it with a new character with different starter weapons and see what a new build feels like. So this is if you're going to play the same thing over and over again. So we begin. We have arrived in the Grim Coast. We are engraved, a special type of undead who can return to life, and we have the power to engrave runes into our very essence and gain power. So this is like being one of the chosen undead in Dark Souls. Wingdings the Fey Dragon. The goofy fantasy realm of fonts is a good idea, Arudnell. So 1, sigil. A sigil carved into the very soul of this realm, connecting you with it. This is a place of rest, recovery, and rebirth. Day and night, so it's the same. Rest, recover all of your health, unmark all fights in this realm. So when you do an action, you're going to mark that action. But if you unmark, then that means it can happen again, or you have to do it again. Travel from Sigil, a quiet village along the coast, eerily still. That's point 2. An ominous forest looms to the north. That's point 3. So let's go to the village. And I'm just going to go back up here, and I'm going to make a circle. Can I make a circle? I can make a circle. So let's make a circle. It's like this, but let's make it pink. So this is my little character. This is like, I'm keeping track of where we are. So we're here at the sigil. And then we're going to move tromp, over to the town, right? Like this. So we're going to point 2. Village of Tiresh. Clearly abandoned, though there are some signs of recent visitors. This place is as quiet as a grave. I cannot add spaces to part of this thing. So, because we moved, right, I need to add 1 wedge to this clock. Okay, that's a rectangle. Undo. If I do a triangle, can I can rotate the triangle. Look at that. So we're going to have this in blue, and this is, I think, as close as I'm going to get to filling the clocks. How's that sound? Because I can rotate this. I should be able to copy it and rotate it, and then we'll have our clock using geometry. 2,000 fonts? That's wild, especially for 88. You know, we have typeface for like printers and typewriters, so I suppose I guess that's where most of it would come from, right? So we go back to Village of Teresh. We've done things. So during the day, it's still day because we have 3 more ticks. I can search to get a healing vial. I can learn to increase lore. I know that lore is important. During night, there's a fight and a delve. So let's... can I make an X? I guess I would just type an X, right? I would go back to here and text, and then I'm gonna do an X. And now I'm gonna take this X and I'm gonna paste it, right? So this is my I did a thing X, and I can make it big like that. Okay, so during daytime, we're gonna learn increase lore +1. So I'm gonna add 1 to my lore stat, but first I'm gonna read some flavor text. No remains to be found anywhere. The valuables of every home still in place, waiting for their owner's return. Drag marks lead to a locked cellar door. So now we go back to here, and we add +1 lore. We have learned about this realm a little bit by looking around in the village of Teresh. That means we also need to go back up to this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab this clock. I'm gonna move it over to our resource page because I think that's gonna be more important. So we're gonna do that. Copy this, and then I'm gonna paste it, and then we're going to geometry. Where is my flip? Flip? Do I do this by... Haha, look at that. So I flipped it. And I'm just gonna delete that so that we know that we're keeping track of time over here. And back to Teresh. Okay, so we've done that, and now I can search. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it. No? I thought I had done that. Okay, great, I did. So I gain a healing vial, 1 healing vial, and I can use the healing vial to recover 2 health anytime during exploration. Exploration is basically when I'm not in a combat. So we go back here. I'm going to move this over there. Oh, I should copy it. Undo. Copy. Paste. And then I move this one, and here we are. So we've got three of our 4 segments, but I'm still here, and it's not nighttime yet. So what I think I'm going to do is move back to the sigil and then move back to here, so that it will be 1 tick into nighttime. And we'll see if this might be too many. This might be too many fights. We'll see. So I move back to the sigil and then back to here. And therefore, in this, I'm going to move these off, and I'm going to highlight night. So when I highlight it, it's going to be red. Hey, look at that. So it's nighttime. So now it's nighttime as we arrive in the village. So, oh yeah, like getting a professional voice actor. Yeah, like in beta when there's one voice actor doing everything. That's pretty fun. So during night, when there is a fight in at a point, you have to do the fight before you can do any other action. I don't have the Necromancer's key, but that's fine. Let's try this fight. It might be too much. We'll find out. So there's no terrain, which means there's nothing that's going to obstruct our area. And then we have 1 ghoul and 2 skeletons. So we're going to pop back over to here, where I have prepared enemies. So this bishop is going to be the ghoul, and these are going to be the 2 skeletons, and this is going to be my person. So ghoul is at B3, skeletons are A1, A2. So A1, A2, ghoul is B3, and then where do I start? I start at C3, right here. Okay, that is a lot of enemies. So here's how combat is going to work in RUNE. That is C4. It is C4. Thank you. I'm right there next to him. That's not great for me. I'm going to make my person slightly smaller because I didn't get the transparency right on this. Because I'm not that skilled of a graphic designer. I'm just not. I suppose I could move this over to here because there's a realm clock thing. But I'll do that later. So the first thing I do is I roll dice for the enemies. And that will determine what actions they take. And then I'm going to roll dice for me, and that will tell me what my options are for stuff. These enemies are right here. Great. So I have a skeleton. It has 4 health. It is undead. It can attack at the same square and adjacent. Adjacent is only orthogonal, not diagonal in this game. And then a ghoul has 4 health. It is undead. It is also same and adjacent. So first we read the flavor text, like good lore monkeys. Tattered clothing covers the animated dead. The style is unlike anything you've seen on the island. And ghoul, unnaturally resilient predators, have a 6th sense for corpses, making them excellent trackers. I'm going to be using these cool dice that I got from Dispel Dice / Wormwood. And then I will be turning them into digital dice. So I'm going to roll for my skeletons, left to right. So I got a 4 and a 1 for the skeletons. And for the ghoul, I got a 5. The 5 is probably not great for me, if I'm being honest. Oh, undo. All right, there we go. So this is because I have a font that is called Dicier. So I can just type out dice. And then we have a 4 here and a 1. So you've got a 4, you've got a 1. That would probably be the optimal approach at RUNE. It is, however, more complicated than I'm set up to do right now. I think if I were going to play a lot of RUNE, I would try to figure out a cooler way of doing this. Or I would import it to Roll20 and I would use Roll20's dice. But now I roll dice for me. All right, I got a 5 and a 6. That's pretty good, I hope. So I have a 5 and a 6. And can I make this to show? I want to do 2-page view. View 2 pages at a time. View. Document. Actually, we should go to here, and then view split view. Oh, that's not what I need. No. I don't need split view. What I need is show me 2 pages side by side. I suppose the way I do this is, nope, that's not it either. Maybe pages. Go to spread. No? Why did that not do it? Could have sworn. See, this, I don't know enough about this project or this program to be able to use it as well as I would like. Document setup. Facing pages. No, why? That's almost worse. Okay, so I'm just gonna have to go back and forth. Add a page 1. Master pages, add master. And then page 2. Facing pages. Go to spread. No. So pages. Add page before. Okay. Facing pages. Brilliant. Thank you so much, B. Leon Gambetta. I'm guessing Brandon Leon Gambetta, the designer. Hello. Thank you. That was much faster than me Googling it or trying to remember on my own. And therefore, we can get back to the fun. So 5 and a 6 for my weapons. I can do a 5, which will deal harm, and 6, 5 or 6 on the shield is move and block. Excellent. Okay, so if I were here, if I were in this space, I could do a fire column that would hit both of these enemies, but I only have 1 move. I can move 1, but first the enemies are going to move. So I'm going to look at here. It's the ghoul. So it's a 5 for the ghoul, which is move 2, harm 1, gain 1 health. So they can attack me at the same space and an adjacent space. So they're going to move here because they want to. They're going to want to get as close as possible, and then they're going to attack the same space or adjacent space. I probably don't want to be in the same space because an enemy will do extra damage. But first, I also have to look at what these 2 skeletons are doing, because they move and then I move and then everybody attacks at the same time. So I think it's a 4 and a 1 for these guys. Skeleton 1 through a 4 is move 1, harm 1. So they're both going to get closer to me. But neither is there. But because I am the player character, I get to determine who moves where, and I'm gonna make things easier for myself, because then I'm gonna assign my shield a 6 where I get to move 1, so I moved over here, and I block 2, and then I'm going to assign my 5 to the erupting flame, and look, I can do 2 harm to all in the row or column. So this is a column, and I'm going to do 2 damage to each of these enemies. But then we're going to see what damage I take. I've got this enemy attacking me and the ghoul attacking me. Therefore, the ghoul is going to do 1 harm and gain 1 health. So I guess they go up to 5. Maybe they can't go over maximum, maybe they can. Actually, let's leave that at 4. And then I'm going to just put a little bit of text here that says 5. So that if I run into another ghoul later, then that is easier. 5. No, the creator of this game is Spencer Campbell, who I believe is GilaRPGs on Twitter. So I'm going to do 2 damage to each of these skeletons. Let's do a box. Nope. Text. Two. And then I'm going to copy and I'm going to paste. So we have another 2. So both of these skeletons are at 2 health. One of them is going to do 1 harm to me. The other one is going to do 1 harm to me, but I have 2 block. So I'd like to think that because I have 2 block, I don't take any of that health because I've got my shield raised and the enemies are like thwapping at it, and then I hurl the erupting flame in a column and it burns both of the skeletons. But the skeletons are at 2 health out of 4, so they are not out yet. That is all the dice. So then we start another round. Pretty good first round for me. I'm going to roll 2 dice for the skeletons and then 1 for the ghoul. So that's a 1 and a 2 for the skeletons, not bad, and a 1 for the ghoul. Generally, I've found that lower for enemies is less dangerous. High is more dangerous. So that's probably good for me. And then my own, I'm rolling 2 dice because I have 2 stamina, which is the starting amount. But I rolled worse this time as well. I got a 2 and a 3. So I have a 2 and a 3, and they had a 1, or it was like it was a 2 and a 3, but that's all fine because these enemies are the same that way. So I should have written down the enemy things first. I think it was because the ghouls or the skeletons are the same on 1 to 4. Ghouls are also the same on 1 to 3. So the ghoul is going to move 1, harm 1. Skeletons are going to move 1, harm 1. They're going to converge on me, like this. There can only be 1 enemy in a space, but an enemy can be in the same space with me. So I guess this means that this enemy is going to go here, like because they can't all be in here with me, is the thing. So sometimes the enemies have to like move around each other, and that's how Dark Souls works. But I'm going to take 1 from here and 1 from here, and I have a 2 and a 3. So here's the limitation on Erupting Flame I wasn't really paying attention to. It only activates on a 4, 5, or 6. So if I get a 1 to 3, I can't do anything. And a shield only does something on a 3 or more. So that's the major limitation of Erupting Flame. So the fact that I got a 2 and a 3 means that I can use my block, and that's about it. So again, I hunker down behind my shield, and the enemies are just wailing away at me, right? Because I'm going to double check. Move 1, harm 1, move 1, harm 1. Oh, I'm sorry, small form factor. Too many acronyms in the world. But at least the ghoul did not gain a health this time. So I think I can move. So I do want to move because if I don't, I will take extra damage. And I'm going to move here because that gets me farther away from this enemy. Or do I want to move here? Small form factor is a mid-list author. Accurate. So if they move, yeah, I think maybe I will be here because that gives me the most movement options. I'm staying toward the center. Yeah, because I have 0 move, but when I have 0 move, the Strider boots give me +1 move. That's the only reason I'm able to move this turn. And so they're a good pick with Shield and Erupting Flame because Erupting Flame does not give any movement on its own. Something like the Longsword does, but I'm hoping that I may also find another weapon somewhere in this realm. So that's that. Now I'm going to roll for the enemies. First 2 are the skeletons. Third is the ghoul. So skeletons get a 1 and a 3. Ghoul gets a 5. That 5 is probably not great for me. 1 and a 3. So that's the ghoul. A 1 for you. And a 3 for you. Let's put these over here where they're legible. Yeah, when I played Dark Souls 1, I actually switched to the point where my Pyromancy catalyst was in my dominant hand, and then I had a shield in my left, where I would kind of block and take hits and then roll away until I had the room to be able to throw my my fire attack. But we'll see how it works in RUNE. And now I'm rolling my stamina dice. All right, I got a 2 and a 5. A 2 is really nothing, but a 5 I can do something with. And if I get 0 move, my Strider boots will still give me 1 move. So that's fantastic. First, the enemies move. So a 5 for the ghoul is, again, move 2, harm 1, gain 1 health. I actually think that they cannot exceed their maximum health, and I'm going to be kind to myself, otherwise this ghoul is just going to be preposterous. Spencer, if I'm doing it wrong, I apologize. But if I'm using Souls-like games as a touchstone, I've not seen enemies exceed their maximum health. Or if they do, it's not expressed on the life bar. So maybe it's just trickery. So you're going to move 2, harm 1, gain 1 health. You're going to move 1, harm 1. So you move to here, you move to here. They're trying to close in on me. Yeah, healing not going above. Great. So there's only 1 enemy per row or column unless I can get down here, and I don't have that much move. Staying at 4 would be right. Great. So what I can do is this 2 goes nowhere. I assign the 5 to the flame, and because I have 0 move, no move from weapons. Oh, no move from. Here's a thing. Oh, shield counts as a weapon. That's fair. I was like, well, shields they can be weapons. You can mustachio someone with a shield. That's all fine. So no move from weapons. And I get the 1 from the Strider boots. So I move here, and then I use Erupting Flame to do 2 damage in this row. I'm guessing this is all enemies. Because deal 5 harm to same or adjacent enemy, take 2 harm. So I think I burn this skeleton. So their die goes away. Boop, and they go off the board. And I go to here, and I take this one. So there's one skeleton left and a fully healthy ghoul. All right, next turn. I roll 1 for the skeleton. Skeleton gets a 1. Ghoul gets a 1. That's lovely. Easier turn for me. And now 2 for my stamina. Oh, a 2 and a 1. On a 2 and a 1 for stamina, I don't get to do jack. But I do get to move because I get no move from weapons this round. Which means I think they chase me and I run away. Right? Because it's the 1 for... So, ghoul move 1, harm 1, skeleton move 1, harm 1. So, you move to here, you move to here. I get 1 move, which I think means that I move to here, and then I don't take any harm. As the ghoul kind of stumbles around to try to lunge at me. Yeah, what I have learned playing Souls-like games is that mobility is absolutely essential. I was also very much a mobility and footwork-oriented fencer in my historical martial arts days, so that's all lining up. Great. Nobody takes anything this turn. Skeleton gets a 5. Ghoul gets a 6. That's bad. So 6 for you, 5 for you. I get a 3 and a 1. So that's not the worst possible, but it's not great. 3 and a 1. Ooh, okay, so they get... Skeleton's 5 is move 1, harm 2. Ghoul's 3 is gain 3 health. Okay. So they just gain health where they are. They regenerate. So that's not great for me. The skeleton moves 1 and harms 2, yes? Move 1, harm 2. However, I do have a shield, which means I can block. So yeah, you move down there. Yeah, the thing with the ghoul is that I want to kill the skeletons first and then hope to do enough damage to the ghoul quickly enough that they don't regenerate and make the fight last forever. I may have to wait for my 6 on the erupting flame and accept some damage. On my 3, however, I can use my shield. And then I can move if I want. This moves me farther away from the ghoul, which is pretty good. No, I don't want to move that. Undo. So you're down here. So another turn without damage. Skeleton, 3. Ghoul, 5. Okay. And then I get a 1 and a 4. A 4 is not terrible. It does not, however, give me block. So 3 and a 5. So 3 for the skeleton is move 1, harm 1. 5 for the ghoul is move 2, harm 1, gain 1 health. So the ghoul gets to move 2. Boom, boom. And this one is going to move 1, so they're going to box me in, which is not great for me. I'm going to go ahead and be mean and have them box me in like that. And I did get a 5, right? I got like a 5 and a 2. I need to remember to set my dice first. So if I move, I'm going to take extra damage from one of these enemies because I'm going to be in the same space as them. Undo. Where are you? Can I just make you lock? Lock. Thank you. Now I can't move it. Great. But I probably do want to move here so that I can get out of the way and not be boxed in forever. But that's the ghoul, so let's actually not go that direction. Let's go this way, toward the skelly. So the skelly hits me for 1, +1 because I'm in the same spot. And I could use my 5 to deal 2 damage to it. If I kill the enemy as it's damaging me, I do not... if I kill it as they're damaging me, I will still take the damage, which is unfortunate, but it takes the enemy off the board. So I'm going to mark my health down from 10 to 8. I had been successful in blocking until then. But now there's only 1 enemy on the board, 1 die, 1 action per turn, and theoretically with my 2 dice, I have an advantage. But let's see. The ghoul gets a 4. And I get a 5 and a 3. That's not bad. I should be able to use both of the dice here, right? I could do block and flame, I think. But let's find out. On a 4 for the ghoul, they are going to move 2, harm 1, gain 1 health. So move 2 is 1, 2. They move on top of me. And then I get to do something. If I do shield and flame, I'm not getting any move, but I get move from my strider boots. So I'm going to move back to here toward the center to give me maneuverability, and then I'm going to use shield to block the 2 harm that's coming in, and I'm going to use erupting flame in this column, and I'm finally going to do damage to the ghoul. So the ghoul, I'm just going to move. Oh, that's fine, because that other skeleton is dead. I do 2. This is down to 2. But they probably gain 1 health back because of their move. I'm going to give that to them. I think that is probably in the intention of their design. Because all the damage is applied at the same turn, and then you just do the math. Because it doesn't say only gain health if they do damage to you. So. But I am still doing okay. Let's see what the ghoul gets. That's a 5 for the ghoul. Again, that's going to be rough because they're going to gain health. And then I got a 6 and a 4, which is awesome. So what I can do... All right, so first let's do their action. On a 5, they move 2, but they only need to move 1 to get on top of me. So they're here. But with a 4 and a 6, I can block 2 and deal 5 harm, but I'm going to use my boots to move 1. I'm going to deal 5 harm to a same or adjacent enemy and take 2 harm, but I'm going to block 2. The enemy with a 5 is going to do 1 harm, which I block. The question is, can I block the fire damage? What do you think? Does it make sense that I could throw a big thing of fire and block part of it with my shield? Yeah, I think Shield Flame is, it has a really low floor because if you're rolling only 1s and 2s, you're just not getting anything out of it. But like, especially if we think that I could use my shield to block the flame from Erupting Flame 6, then I think Shield Flame is pretty good. I think whatever the case, I kill the ghoul. The question is, do I take both, or yeah, because I block the ghoul's harm. Do I then also block 1 of the harm from the erupting flame, or not? And I'm happy to defer to y'all what you all think is reasonable or realistic within the game, not like, you know, skeletons. I have a question for you, Spencer. I will try to remember to ask you whether you can block damage that you do to yourself from erupting flame if you are using a shield. Because I think erupting flame, you're like throwing a flame out that's really close to you, and so you get burned, but the enemy also gets burned. Could you block some of that because you've got a shield? Let's say for now that I can't. Just to be a little bit harder. If this is a Souls-like game, they're supposed to be hard. So I've given myself a little bit of a break. I played hard a couple of times. Let's go ahead back to being hard. And now I have defeated this this enemy. And because I did an action, there's one more tick in the night clock. That's fine. That's fine. So I did a fight. Hooray! Great. So I go back to here. I have done paste. Nope, that's not it. I have to select, copy, paste. Now I have another thing. I have filled that fight. And now that fight will stay filled until something says uncheck that fight. All right, let's make that a little bit fit better. Woohoo! We did it! But the delve requires Necromancer's Key, and I don't have that. So I scrapped, or I defeated the skeletons, and then the ghoul. I engulfed the ghoul in a big column of flame and burned myself a bit after having taken some damage. And now I kind of poke around the village, and there's nothing else. From Village of Teresh, I can go to the forest, a solitary structure on a nearby coast 4, or the keep of this realm atop a hill. So let's go back to the map, right? Because from here I can go lots of places because I'm right there. I'm going to go to the forest next because then if I get really beat up, I can go back to the sigil and heal. But it will reactivate the fights. However, if I go to a place and there's a fight and I don't want to do any of the other actions, I can just leave. Like in a Souls game when you run into, like, oh, here's several enemies and I'm just going to run screaming past them to go somewhere else. So I'm going to go to here and I'm going to add 1 tick on the night clock. So it's still night. I made this look pretty once upon a time and now it's just not. That's fine. So now we're going to go to point 3. Here we go. Gnarled tree. Among a grove of vibrant life, a lone tree sits, twisted, writhing, alive and dead. Dun 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 dun. Oh, look at this. At night you can sacrifice 2 health to the gnarled tree and increase your lore. But if you do, you permanently reduce your maximum health by 2 while you remain on the Grim Coast. Yikes. So how much do we think we need that lore is my question. Yeah, that is steep. So if I were being, I guess it depends, because there's stuff to do during the day that I can't do because it's nighttime. I know that there's a hidden path that I can access if I have lore. I have lore of 1, so I don't need lore of 2 yet, but I imagine I will need lore of 2 for something else. And maybe that means I'm going to have to come back to the tree to get the lore. Or I could just do it right now. I would go down to 6, I would have a maximum of 8 health, and I would gain the lore. I'm guessing that there's something in the realm that's going to need a maximum of lore, and it's going to make things hard. So in the spirit of doing things that are hard, let's go for it. My lore goes up to 2. and then we add a tick and it becomes daytime. We go back to here, da 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 da, now it's daytime. But that means that it's now daytime and there's enemies and I have 4 health. And I can't do any of these actions until I do the fight. So I sacrifice health to the gnarled tree. The tree's roots drink the spilled blood, a content sigh resonating from the trunk. A voice rings out. The boatman requires the stars to navigate the seas. Increase lore +1, which I did. Permanently reduce maximum health by 2, yes. And then when I emerge from sacrificing my health to the gnarled tree, there are 3 zealots and a writher who have emerged from the brush. And I go, no. I instead run away. So I go, hey! And I run screaming through the hills. The writhers chase me probably until about here, and then they're tethered, and then I get back to the sigil. And at the sigil, I can rest, but then I unmark all fights in the realm. So I'm going to do that, but that means that I go to the village of Teresh, and I remove this fight. That means that if I want to do this delve, I'm going to have to do the fight again because that's how that works. That's the only fight that I've done. And then we're going to go back here, and I'm going to return to there during the daytime to do this other fight. And we go to the gnarled tree, and I'm going to do this fight action. So terrain none, 3 zealots at A1, A4, and D4, and 1 writher at B3. A1, A4, D4. Okay. A1, A4, and then copy, paste, and D4. You, however, are going to become... Can I make this? No? All right, so it's just going to be the green outline one. This is, green outline is number 3. And then this, because now there are 4 enemies. Because there's the writher. I sure hope that the zealots are easy to kill. The writher is at B3. B3. And where do I start? I start at D1. Okay. That's not... It could be worse. It could start me here, right? I could be totally boxed in. So I return, and they're kind of arrayed, and then they turn, and the zealots probably scream something, and we'll find out what a writher is. Let's go back and read the flavor text. A zealot. The stars! Don't you see it? The stars! I'm editorializing by adding the laugh. And a writher, the spikes from the pods are splintered pieces of bones. So the writher counts as permanent terrain. No character can share the same space as it, and it wants to be adjacent. And on a 1 to 5, it places a spike pod on any adjacent space. Interesting, so it's going to add terrain. Spike pod, triggered, hazard. 1 harm when a player enters or starts on a space with a spike pod. Now you'll notice that it says player, so the enemies can move over the spike pods without difficulty. But this enemy does not do a lot of damage on their own. They're just laying down spike pods. But that is going to start boxing me in. Zealots, health of 3, range same and adjacent. On a 1 to 3, they move 3 and harm 1, so they move a lot. Move 1, harm 1 on 4 to 5, and harm 3 on a 6. Yikes. So if I get the most unlucky, they will move a bunch right away, and then the next turn they will positively rock me. But if they do that, I might be able to move away, but then maybe I can't move away because of the writher. Yeah, so the Writher does not move, doesn't it? Yeah, that's a good point. So this Writher is here, but look at that. They're going to put these pods in one of these spaces, right? Okay. Cool. I like this game. I already liked it when I was watching Spencer do an actual play of one of the fan-made realms, and I said, this is pretty cool. I like Souls-like games. Maybe I will do something for this. And I was thinking about like maybe building a realm, and now I'm super into it. I'm gonna roll for the Zealots. So the Zealots, 2 of them get 6s, and 1 of them gets a 3. Here's the thing about the Zealots getting 6s. They're too far away from me. They can't do their damage to me right now. So that's gonna be... So that's not terrible. This one is gonna get to move. This one and this one are gonna do that, that animation that a lot of Souls enemies do, where they just go attack, 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 attack. And if you're there and you're not blocking, you just get totally wrecked. Unfortunately for them, I'm over here. And then the Writher gets a 2, so that's going to be placing down a seed pod, right? So I'm going to give you your 2, and then I'm going to roll dice for me. I got a 5 and a 1, so the 1 is not going to be anything, but the 5 I can do something with. Right? So these enemies are going to move first. You're going to move 3, 1, 2, 3. So you're going to get all the way up on me. You and you don't move because you just do 6. On a 6, you harm 3 and don't move. But as a special, the Zealots deal +1 harm for every adjacent enemy. So if they start surrounding me, that's going to go poorly. I need to remember that. And their thing does not say harm 0. Oh, okay, move 3, harm 1. So if it's this could say like harm 0, but then they would do damage if there were adjacent enemies, but they still do 1. So I've got 1 coming into me. I rolled a 5 and a 1, which means the 1 does nothing. On the 5, I could move 1 and block 2, so I wouldn't take damage because I would go to here. Or I could stay here, or actually, because on 5, right? I could do this, still get a movement from my Strider boots, move to here, and do 2 damage to everybody in my column. So that's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to take 1 damage from that enemy's attack, which is not great. Just clearly, because I only have 3 health left. But now 2 of these have taken 2 damage. So let's do this. So that's 1, no, undo. This is what we're gonna do. 1, 1, 3. And who is the one that has 3? Let's see. So black, green, white. Okay. Black 1, white has 3, and green has 1. We're just going to keep track of the enemies, right? Thank you for hitting the rune command, Rudinel. For anybody who's watching, I am already a backer of this because I think it's super neat. Okay, and then you place a spike pod. So let's go back here, and I'm going to make a diamond. I think a diamond is going to be our spike pod. So let's make pod there, because that's pretty likely to cause me some kind of issue. And now we pull the dice off. Yeah, I imagine, or there may be a backer kit section, and then it will just be available in retail at some point. So that's all of that. I'm going to roll 3 dice for the Zealots. So that is 1 for black, 6 for white, and 5 for green, because that's the order I have them in. 1, 6, and 5. Black, white, no, white is here, green is here, great. And then the Writher gets a 5. Okay, so you're going to make another seed pod. This enemy is going to run up on me and attack. The last one is going to move 1 and harm 1. So they're going to move 1 and attack. If I stayed here, I would be taking extra damage because they're ganging up on me. Oh, I should roll my dice first. So I got a 4 and a 1. Not great. I'm probably going to be blocking. Okay, so now they move. This one moves here, and it wants to beat up on me. This one moves 1, harm 1, right? Move 1, harm 1. And then this one is just attacking. Foomp, 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 foomp. You are going to make another one of these. We're going to put that one over here. And then I'm going to, let's see, I have a 4 and a 1. So I don't have anything that's going to give me move, so I just get move from the Strider Boots. And then so I could take 1. Now, is it adjacent enemy to them or adjacent enemy to me? Deals +1 harm for every adjacent enemy. I'm gonna say that they would get a damage bonus from enemies adjacent to them. So this one will do me 2 harm instead of 1. So therefore, I'm going to put my 4 here at block 2, and I would take 1 + 1 is 2. At block 2, I take 0. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Undo. This is the downside of the way I'm doing this. That's fine. So I take no damage, but things are getting hairier because we've got all these spike pods showing up. Okay. 3 dice for the enemies. Okay, 5, 6, 5. It's not great. So it's been black, white, green. 5, 6, 5. 5, 6, 5. And the Writher gets a 1. And I get 2 and a 5. 5 and a 2. Okay. If I get another piece of utility gear that would let me add +1 to a die, that would be perfect, honestly. So move 1, attack 1. Move 1, attack 1. You're only attacking, and you're going to add a seed pod here. So I'm going to move here. And I could finish these enemies off, but I would take damage. So what did that look like? That would look like because that's a special. I would take 2 harm. I would be down to 1. Oh, I do have a... effects and notes. Healing flask times 1. So leaving me at 1 health is not great, but it does take both of these enemies off the board. Whoop. Weird dice. These dice go down here because this enemy doesn't move. And my hope is that this enemy is not going to be able to move so well that I can't fire them, right? Because I have this erupting flame, same and adjacent, and then blocking. Because with this enemy, I can just stay away from them and then fireball them from these spaces because they can't shoot farther. This was the 4th turn. So now there is a seed pod in every adjacent spot. This enemy didn't move because they got a 6 again. But now I'm only rolling 2 dice for enemies. If I can survive this fight, I have 1 healing flask that'll get me back up to 3. I can also do the actions, go back to Sigil, and heal again, and then kind of run back through the town on my way somewhere else. That's my hope. So 1 Zealot gets a 6, just staying where they are, and the Writher gets a 6. So the Writher is going to attack. Their range is adjacent. And you're attacking. So boxcars for the enemies, but not in a way that's necessarily good for them. And now me. 5 and a 4. That's great. So let me mark these down so I don't forget. So enemies move first. They're not moving. I have a 5 and a 4. So I can put 2 block here, and then I can put that. So I'm going to move to here. I'm going to do 2 harm to all in your row. These are traps, not enemies, right? So I can't burst them with the seed pod. Harm 1. Yeah. I would argue that the seed pods, that the spike pods have 1 health, and that I could blow them up with fire, but that's not what the rules say. So I'm not going to give myself a break here. I am going to set this Writher to 4 of 6. So black is 0, white 0, right? Because you're... Yep. Great. Pull the dice back here. You're still out of the fight. You are here. Okay. Zealot gets a 4. Writher gets a 1. So the Writher can't add anything right now. The Zealot has 4, which I believe is move 1, harm 1. Move 1, harm 1. They would get a bonus to harm because they have an adjacent enemy. And I roll a 5 and a 1. So on a 5 and a 1, I can just do 2 harm to all in your row or column again. I could move to here and do that, but I don't want to do that because that would make it too easy for me to get boxed in. So I'm just going to do more fire to the Writher. So now it's at 2 of 6. All right, so let's move to there. Yeah, the nut from PVZ. Okay, so I did some more damage. Let's see the Zealot. Zealot gets a 4. Writher gets a 5. 4 for you, 5 for you. You move 1. I get a 6 and a 4. Beautiful. Six and a 4. So here's what I can do. Is I can move here. Because this already moved. They can't make any more seed pods. Let's be clear here. On a 6 and a 4. I can put the 4 here. Or actually I can do 4 here. And I can do 6 here. So I can move 1, block 2, deal 2 harm to all same and adjacent. So I would do 2 harm to this zealot. They're down to 1 health. Because if they move 3 from here, it doesn't matter. They're just going to come right at me, and then I can move away. So zealot gets a 6, and the Writher gets a 6. Yikes. I may just want to run away this turn, honestly. And you get a 6, because 6 on the Zealot is just harm 3 at range of same and adjacent. So if I move away here, I'll be fine. I get a 6 and a 1. So I do have a 6. So I could do this thing, but I would die. So instead, I'm going to put my 6 here, and I'm just going to move 1 block 2. I don't take any damage. The 1 doesn't let me do anything. Next turn. Zealot gets a 4. Writher gets a 5. Zealot on a 4 is going to move 1, harm 1. And the Writher is going to make seed pods, but they've already done all of that. I get a 3 and a 5. That is usable. Five. So on a 3 and a 5, I could do damage here and block, right? Block 2, damage in a column. I'm taking 2 damage because there's an adjacent enemy, but I'm blocking 2 with my shield, and then I'm doing 2 damage in a row. 1 more column of erupting flame, and they both die. Whew. Okay. Had to play my positions in that, right? Really had to focus on positioning. Cool. So then I add a piece to the night clock for doing the fight, and we go back to here. So I've done the fight. Grab this. Okay, that's that. But now I've done this thing. So my next action is going to be to search, and I'm going to get the Navigator's Pack ×2. When used, the realm clock does not advance when you travel. So that lets me manipulate the clock a little bit more. So now I am going to move this over here. Why can I not? Are you on lower layers? You are on lower layers. What if I move you all up to here? Yep. Right? Because now I can do this. Bump. 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 You're just a little bit there for whatever reason. So I'm going to move these off because that. So this is here because I searched. And then I'm going to move this. I'm going to move this over here. It is daytime again. undo. We're going to switch to this, and it's going to be that. So now it's day. I can just do bold on which one is active. And then I paste, right? Navigator's pack. Okay, so I have a Navigator's pack ×2. When used, the realm clock does not advance when you travel. Ooh, okay. I'm gonna use. Do I want to use that healing flask? Let me hold off on that actually. So I can do this search. Requires lore +1+. I have lore of 2. A hidden path leads from the gnarled tree to the boathouse. You may now travel between the 2 locations. So let's go up here. Gnarled tree is 3. The boathouse is what? Boathouse is 4. Between 3 and 4. So there's a path. Right? So now we know that there's a path between these. All right, I don't need to do any of that. We're going to go back to this other persona. Cool. So we are still at the tree because we just did that action. So I could move on, but I am very not healthy, and I don't know if there's there may not be a sigil up in these other areas. So instead I'm going to run down here. But let's double check that I'm doing my time correctly. So gnarled tree, I did 1, 2, 3 ticks in the day. I already did this. So let's leave an X on there. So my last tick of the day is going to be to run back to the sigil, and then I'm going to rest, so it's going to be night. Let's have you be white. Yeah. And I'm going to go back up to my maximum of 8 health. And I don't have the key, so I can't do the other thing that's in the first space. So I'm here. What I am going to do is I'm going to go 1 and then 2, because I get to here and then there's a fight, and then instead I run away. So I'm going to add 2 slices to the night clock. And we're going to go to number 4. All right, so during night, which it is, you can now travel between the Boathouse 4 and the Ruinous Camp 6, but only at night. If you have the star charts, you may travel during the day. So during the day, I could get the star charts. And a quiet village off in the south, the massive keep, an ominous fire across the channel. So it's halfway through night. I'm going to take the delve action to like activate this. Copy. Paste. Because I do have lore 2+, which I only would have gotten. I only have because, nope, not this. Not at 5. At 4, right? Yes. So never mind that 2+ lore thing. A spectral boatman stands in the chained-up boat, beckoning you closer. They look to the stars. whispers as you step inside. So now I can go between 4 and 6. So like this. But only at night, so I'm going to do that. Boop. I go over to 6, and that means that I fill the rest of the clock, and now it's daytime. So you're not bold, and now you are bold, and now this is easy. So we are going to number 6. Oop, you saw nothing. Ruinous camp. So during day, there's a fight. A necromancer and 3 skeletons. And if I beat them, I can then search and get the necromancer's key. So, I'm glad that I healed up. The smell of the grave is strong in the wind, even a distance from the camp. So, unique enemy starts at B2, 3 skeletons at A1, 2, and 3. Okay? A1. Oh, did I delete the other enemies? I guess maybe I did. Copy, paste. So you're going to have a red outline. And you're going to have a... Nope, that's too close. Right. Gray outline. So nothing. Right. Why don't you have a black outline? And then you're going to have a beige outline. Do I have other things that I could add? Here, why don't I do this instead? Because I can just make designs. Star for skeletons. So, no. Black, yellow, blue, red. And then Necromancer is B2. B2. And I start C4. Okay. Necromancer. Health 4, unique, range 2 and 3 spaces. Special. If Necromancer deals harm, they recover 1 health. Under the grave dirt caked robes are the unmistakable clothes of royalty. And skeleton. It's skeletons. Tattered. Yeah, I've already seen skeletons. So they are health 4. They can attack same and adjacent. They do up to 2. You move 1, harm 3, and your range is 2 and 3 spaces. So if I am right up on them, they can't attack me. But they can do a lot of harm. And they can summon skeletons. Which is not great, because I have not gotten new gear. So I'm still really vulnerable with 1s and 2s. Okay. I'm going to roll 3 dice for the skeletons. So that's going to be red, blue, yellow. Let me set that up. Skeleton. So red, blue, yellow is their health. Six, 1, 3. Six, 1, 3, and the Necromancer gets a 3. All right, so on a 3, the Necromancer harms 1 at a range of 2 to 3. So 1, 2, 3. I'm 3 spaces away because you can't count diagonals. So would do damage. Skeleton 1, move 2, harm 2. 1, 2. But they can't attack me. Skeleton the second, harm 1. They cannot reach me. Other skeleton, or move 1, harm 1 is 1 through 4. I thought they moved more. So you move and you move. And then what do I get? I get a 4 and a 3. That is stuff I can use. Okay. These enemies have all moved. This enemy is not moving, right? Because you got a 3. Necromancer is yeah, move, harm 1. So you're going to do 1 harm at a range of 2 or 3. I have a 3 and a 4. I think I'm going to put block here and that there, where I'm going to block 2 harm, 1 from this and 1 from the skeleton, right? So I block both of those, and then I do 2 harm from the erupting flame to the yellow skeleton. Yellow is at 2. Okay. Nope. Undo. Skeleton 2, skeleton 3. So it is red, blue, yellow in order. Skeletons, 4, 6, 5. Blue. 4. Four, 6, 5 for the skellies. Necromancer gets a 4. Okay, so Necromancer 4 is move 1, harm 3. They want to be 2 to 3 spaces away from me, so they can move here. 1, 2, 3. So they're kind of moving back behind their skeletons. Skeletons, 4. So on a 4, skeletons move 1, harm 1. So you're moving here. On a 5, they move 1, harm 2. And on a 6, move 2, harm 2. So move 1, move 1. So actually, yeah, because they can't switch who's doing what. Like, oh, okay, if they could switch who's doing what, then this one, the yellow one, could move 2, and then they would be surrounding me differently, right? But they actually don't get to do that. So that's a lot of harm coming in, right? 1, 2, 3, all of these enemies are attacking me. So I probably want to move a space away if I can. If I get a column, that would be great, but I haven't rolled yet. Because that 3 and 4 is from last turn. I got a 1 and a 5. 5. Nope, undo. 1. So on a 5 and a 1, my 1 can't do anything. The 5 will do the flame. I can put my 5 over here. I get my Strider Boots. I move like that. And then I'm going to do 2 damage to everything in this row. I'm going to kill the yellow skeleton and damage the blue one, but then I'm going to take an attack from the yellow skeleton, who is on a 5, harm 2. Okay. So I take some damage, but then yellow skeleton is done, and blue skeleton takes 2. Yellow is 0, blue is 2. And I am 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces away from the Necromancer, so they don't get me. Cool. So this Necromancer is unique. If I kill them here, they will never respawn in this realm. I may still have to take out the skeletons first, but what I need to be aware of is that if a Necromancer rolls a 6, they're just going to spawn another skeleton. So I might end up having to blitz the Necromancer and try to wail on them until I've got them, and I may die in the process. So I just have to accept that as a possibility. So I'm going to roll 2 dice for the skeletons now, because the third one is dead. Skeletons 4 and a 6. So that's good for them. Hey look, a 4 and a 6. So red and blue. So 4 is move 1, harm 2, right? 4 is move 1, harm 1. Okay. So you move here. And a 6 is, I believe, move 2, harm 2. So you're going to move to here. And then the Necromancer gets a 5. So the Necromancer on a 5 is move 1, harm 3. So now 1, 2, 3. You are going to move forward to get me in range. So if I were using a different combination of moves, I might have an option that would let me get 2 move, that would let me go all the way up to here and get right next to the Necromancer. But I don't think that that is something I can do with this gear. It's just not really the thing. Now what I could do maybe is Erupting Flame and do 5 to each of these, but let's roll for me. I got a 3 and a 5, so those are both usable. 3. So on a 3 and a 5, I can block 2 and deal 2 harm. If I stayed here, I would take harm from everybody, and I would take extra harm. So instead, I think I'm going to move to here, where this skeleton is going to do, on a 4, 1 harm, which I can block, right? This skeleton doesn't attack, and I'm 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces away, which is too far for the Necromancer. So I do my Erupting Flame, I do 2 damage to blue, blue dies. Blue is dead. And I use my shield to block. So I have now taken out 2 of the skellies. Skeletons, not Skelkellen, because that skelly is good. So skeleton and the Necromancer. Now the trick is that the Necromancer may generate another skeleton here in a second. Let's find out. So skeleton rolls the die straight off the table. Skeleton gets a 4. Necromancer does in fact get a 6 and makes a new skeleton. So that's a 6 for you, you jerk, and you get a 4. I get a 3 and a 4, which is usable. So on a 4, they move 1, harm 1. And on a 6, you make a skeleton in an adjacent spot. So you're gonna do that here. It's better for you to do that here. I'm not gonna take it easy on myself. So 3 and a 4. On a 3, I can block 2. On a 4, deal 2 harm to all, same and adjacent. So I think I'm gonna do that and this, and I move here. This enemy was doing 1 harm. They would do +1 harm because they're right on top of me, but I do get a block, which means that I do 2 damage. I deal 2 damage to them. I don't think I do extra damage. I think it's just the enemies do extra damage when they're on top of me. So blue is back, but red has now taken 2. And there's that. So now 2 dice for skeletons. 2 and a 6. 6 and a 2. That's for you. And now the Necromancer gets a 3. And I am hoping for some good rolls, no whammies. All right, that's a 6 and a 5. That will qualify as good rolls, no whammies. 5. Okay. So on a 6, deal 5 harm to same or adjacent enemy. Same or adjacent enemy, not to same and adjacent enemy is the thing. So on a 2, you would move. On a 6, you are going to move 2 and harm 2. 1, but there can't be 2 enemies in the same space. Now what I can do with this 5 and 6 is that I can do 6 over here, and then I can do 5 and here, and I could go to here and do 2 harm to all in row and column, but then I would take more damage. Instead, I'm going to move to here. Well, let's see. If I moved here instead, I think that's going to be better, but it doesn't get me close to the Necromancer is the thing. How much damage are you doing, Necromancer? You're doing 1. All right, I'm going to take that 1 because that's going to get me headed toward you, because I can't do same or adjacent to do my big flame 6. So you're going to do 1 harm. Red, you've got a 2, so you're also going to do 1 harm. So I block both of that harm with my shield, and then I do 2 harm to you, Necromancer. So you are at 2 of 4 because you are not sturdy. That's your weakness. Okay. Skellies, 1 and a 4. I'm just gonna have to start calling them skeletons because Skelly has become too confusing. Skeleton 1, Necromancer, 4. So on a 4, the Necromancer, move 1, harm 3. I think they're going to move away. You move 1, harm 1. You move 1, harm 2. And what do I get? I get a 6 and a 5 again. So, is there a way I can kill the Necromancer and take not a ton of damage? Because you're harm 2 and you're harm 1. I can't, because to do 2 in my row or column, I would have to be 1, 2, 3. I would have to be somewhere in this 1 row, or I have to be in the B column. It's basically the same because I'm going to take +1 damage from either of these, and this enemy is going to attack at 1, 2, 3 squares. So instead I think I want to be here, So how many damage? How much? You do 3 harm at range of 2 or 3 spaces. That's a lot. So I would take 3 harm, 4, 5 harm, 4, 5, 6, 7 harm. Okay, that would kill me. So let's not do that. Unfortunately, 7. I would take 2 off, so I would be at 5 harm. And I would still have to fight these other skellies. All right. I'm going to be a little bit more circumspect, unfortunately. 1, 2, 3. So that one can't reach me with the harm 3. You're going to do 2, which I block, and then I'm going to do 2 back. Red is at 2. Now red is at 0. We're back down to 1 skeleton for now. All right, 1 skeleton gets a 1, and the necromancer gets a 6. So that red skeleton is coming right back. So you're going to move here, and then red skeleton is going to be here. One, 6. All right, I really do need to just go for the necromancer, otherwise this could last forever. So you are going to come right up on me. I get a 6 and a 1. So on a 6, I can deal 5 harm to a same or adjacent enemy, but then I take 2 harm. Is that worth it? I don't know that I think that's worth it. I think I move. Oh, here's what I do. I do this, right? Because I move, because this enemy doesn't attack this turn because they're just summoning a skeleton. This enemy attacks me for 1 + 1, or 1, and I block it with that, and then I put my 5 here. I kill this one, and I do 2 damage to the red with a column of flame. So red goes from 0 to 4 to 2, and the necromancer is dead. Necromancer style. Can I do strike through? Strike through. Single strike through. Necromancer, dead. Nice. So unique enemy defeated. Very good for me. Now I just have to clean up the skeletons and not die. Okay, next turn, skeletons. That's a 2 and a 4. So you get a 2, and you get a 4. That's that. So you move 1 and harm 1, and you move 1 and harm 2, right? Skeleton 1 through 4 is move 1, harm 1. I may have done that wrong at some point. That's fine. So you go up, you come up on me like that. And I get double 1s. I get nothing. Nothing. I do get to move because of my Strider boots, which are MVPs, TBH. So I move, and therefore I only take 1. I go down to 5. The unique enemy is gone, so honestly I should be able to run away, but I want to see if I can do another thing at this location, so let's keep going. Skeletons, 1 and 1. So they're doing their least awesome version. No, don't do that. 1, 1. I get a 4 and a 6. Much better for me. Okay. So you move here and you move here. You're each going to do 1. I'm going to put this here. I am, let's see, I would take a total of 3 if I stay here. I don't think that's worth it. So I'm going to put the 6 here. And I'm going to put the erupting, the 4 there to do 2 to the blue skeleton. Blue skeleton is now at 2. And this red skeleton, is the red skeleton at 2? I feel like they were new last turn. Well, I want to be done with this, so let's say that they're also at 2. Maybe I'm cheating. Just fighting skeletons is not as interesting as the rest of the things that I think this game has to offer. Skeletons, 5 and a 6. 5 and a 6. Okay, so that's going to be good for them. I get a 2 and a 2. I can do nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's not great. It would be very funny to, all right, so move 1, harm 2, and move 2, harm 2. So 1, 2, and then I take 5 harm. Yep, so the skeletons get me. But I've killed the necromancer. That's very funny. Yeah, it has a very, it has a substantial weakness because there's nothing to do for, with a die of 1 or a 2. But I did get the necromancer. So I go back to 8, and then I will take a death curse of some sort. Necromancer is dead. I go back here. I'm just looking. What am I? Okay, Necromancer's key is the thing that I can get if I come back and do this. So that fight is unchecked. Now this fight is unchecked. And I go back to here. And it becomes night, right? Now I guess it's just 1 slice into day. But I do check for my death curse. So here's the chart I roll on. 6, -1 stamina in combat. That's the worst thing. Very fun. Now, do you stack curses? So if I die, if I die again, will I get another one? Does dying count as completing a fight action? Because if not, I could take -1 stamina, go out to try to do a fight, die again, take another one of these things, die again, and take this, and just never be able to win a fight. At which point I rage quit the game and I write a negative review if I'm playing Dark Souls, but I'm not playing Dark Souls. I'm playing RUNE, and it's not the game is not done developing. So I could go back to my rule page and check whether it says like dying counts as completing a fight action. So we'll see. Hopefully I won't die. I will be able to go and do a fight and succeed. So my stamina is at 1 of 2. And then I decide where I want to go. So there's the fight is 2 skeletons here. So I can do 1, 2. 1, 2, and so now I'm on point 4 at in the daytime. So let's see what that says. Boathouse, daytime. So there's a fight. And I don't have the star charts. So I could do 1 zealot and 2 mercenaries. Let me look at that. I don't think I want to do that fight. I think I want to do the 2 enemies fight. So then I run away, it becomes night, and I run back, and I'm one tick into night. And then I come back to here, and then I take the route across, right? At 4. Night must be night. I can now travel between the boathouse and the ruinous camp, but only at night. I go to here, ruinous camp, or yeah, I don't want to see that. Ruinous camp is 6, and it's nighttime. So here's that's the great thing, is that I can just do these things and then leave. But I don't get the Necromancer's key if I do that. So let's do this, where I make an X, and it's too big, and I make it smaller, and then I put this here. So I get search, and I get 2 healing vials. And then I'm going to copy and paste, because I'm also going to learn increase lore +1, necromantic scribblings of a ritual committed in secret, a trap laid in the graven keep for an unsuspecting lord. So I've done 2 more actions. 1, 2, and then I'm going to move to 0.7, which I have not done before. And it becomes day. Or it becomes day. So we go to 0.7 and we look at the day. Lost night. Oh, it's a unique enemy, and I have 1 stamina. So what do I get? I get the Sun-Scorched Ring. If I win, and I can gain +1 lore. The Lost Night. Oh my goodness, you look terrible. All right, I run away. Right, because it's daytime. Daytime is the fight. So I'm going to run back to here. And it is 1 tick into day. Yeah, boss fight with res sickness. What could go wrong? Exactly. Come back to here. Now 2 skeletons with sickness. Oh, it's 3 skeletons. No. Fuck a duck. So I could run away and try and do an easier fight. What fights are easier? It's 4 o'clock and I have not taken a break yet, so I think I'm gonna check the Grim Coast Wikia on the internet. I don't know. It's the thing that came to my brain. What fight can I win? Mercenaries do some harm. Zealot and the Writher. You're not unique, so you're back to 6. So I guess Skeleton and Ghoul, is that the easiest fight in this game, in this region? Maybe? Yeah, maybe that is. So I do 1, 2, And it's still daytime. 1, 2. And then we look at spot number 2, Village of Thresh. It's daytime. So I'm just gonna go back to the sigil and then come back to here, which means that it's gonna be 1 tick into night. I would say that probably this realm should let you just wait, but that's fine. 1 ghoul, 2 skeletons. Here we go. So, ghoul and 2 skeletons. Red, blue. Let's go. Can I do this? Ghoul is B3, skeletons A1, A2. A1, A2, B3. I am C3. I have 1 stamina. Let's go. But what I do have is greater wisdom / knowledge in what I can and can't do. Okay, skeletons get 1 and 6. So that's red, or blue and red. It would be very funny if this demo ended with "I cannot win," because that sounds like a Dark Souls experience. And the ghoul got a 6. Okay. I get 1 stamina. I rolled a 5. Strider boots are going to be really powerful here because I'm still going to get that move regardless of what it is that I'm doing. Skeleton 1 is move 1, harm 1. 6 is move 2, harm 2. All right. 1, 2, 1. Right. So you're going to harm 2. The ghoul is going to gain 3 health. And I got a 5. 5. So here's the thing. I can move like this, and I can put my 5 to here, and I'm going to do 2 damage to the red skeleton. Red 2, blue 4. Okay. The ghoul is at full health. Skeletons get 4 and a 2. 4, 2. Ghoul gets a 6 again. So doing damage to them right now is not really useful because they're gaining 3 health. Skeleton 1 through 4 is move 1, harm 1. So move 1, harm 1, move 1, harm 1. So you're going to do 1 harm to me, and I got a 5. So I can move and block. So I could move and block like this, or I could move and block like this, or I could do Erupting Flame, move here, take no damage, and do 2 damage to each of these, but then this enemy gains more health than I do in damage. So I don't know that that actually helps me. So instead, I'm going to I'm just gonna move and block. Well, if I move and block here, I actually don't take the damage because I have 2 block. Move 1, block 2, and you don't do damage to me, and you're not attacking me. So this could turn out to be a bad idea, but what I wanted is to not get boxed in. So now, skeletons, 1 and a 6. So red gets a 1, blue gets a 6. Ghoul gets a 2. So this enemy is happy to stay where they are because they're on top of me. This enemy moves here. They're going to do more damage. And the ghoul is move 1, harm 1. Ghoul is going to stay where they are because they can attack at adjacent. I get a 3. On a 3, I can block 2, but my starter boots let me move 1. Okay. Enemies 2 and 5. And 5. Ghoul gets a 2. Okay. Move 1. Move 1. Move 1. I think if the skeletons get me, I'm just gonna say that I lost. And I got a 6. Okay. Here's the thing. You got a 2. I could do 5 damage and just kill the ghoul. Let's see, how much damage do you do on a 2? Ghoul, move 1, harm 1? Yeah, here's the thing. I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to take 1 from you, 2 from you. Come on. But then I incinerate the ghoul. Now it's just the skeletons. Skeletons both get 6s. Wild. And I get also a 6. Yikes. Everybody's hot. So I have a 6. So move 2, harm 2, move 2, harm 2. Right? Skeleton. This 2 is nothing. Because this enemy is dead. So on a 6, I can do 5 harm to a same or adjacent enemy and take 2 harm. But I can move regardless. But instead I'm just going to move 1, block 2. So I don't take anything. Enemies get 1 and a 4. 1 and a 4. And I get a 5. So move 1, harm 1, move 1, harm 1. On a 5, I do this because I don't want to take any harm. I'm just going to go to here. I will take 1 harm, but then I will do 2 damage to the red one and kill it. So I go to, come on, 4, not 3. And now it's just 1 skeleton and me. Skeleton gets a 2, and I get a 2. Skeleton does get to do something on a 2, and I don't. So you move 1, harm 1, but then I get a free move and I move away. 2. So next turn you get a 3, and I get a 6. So, nope, 3. So they move here to do harm 1. I take a 6 to move and block, and I move here. And then enemy gets a 1, and I get a 5. So they move to here with a 1, and I get a 5, which means I use my strider boots to move, and then I do 2 damage to the blue skeleton. And now I'm doing better because I have some space. Skeleton, if you roll a 6, no, skeleton gets a 5, and I get a 3. This is a 3. Okay, and skeleton gets a 5. Can the skeleton move 2 on a 5? No, move 1, harm 2. So they move 1, harm 2, and I move away. 6 for the skeleton and 6 for me. I'm tired of you. We're just going to incinerate. So I'm going to take... Oh, because no, that would kill me. So instead not. So I'm going to move and block. Enemy gets a 5. I get a 4. 4 is move 1, harm 2. Is the blue still at 4? Blue is at 2. No. I'm going to take 2. Come on. I'm going to take 2 and then use my 4 to kill them. And I complete a fight action and my death curse goes away. Hooray! Alright, I've completed my my loot run, my souls run. And then I'm going to run away back to the sigil and rest. So 1. So it's nighttime 3. I'm back to 8 health. And I'm going to take just a quick break to use the restroom and refill my water and check in with Meg, because I think I'm going to go a little bit long because I want to go back here and get that key. Let's see. What do I need the key for? Maybe I don't need the key. Come on. On 2, the key gets me the siphon spell. Wow, that sounds pretty good. Where's the siphon spell? Maybe it's in the core book? Let's see. What if I do siphon? Siphon is Gear of Grim Coast. Drain, deal harm, and then recover that much health. Well, that's pretty great. But here's the thing. It's another 4, 5, or a 6. Sunscorched Ring would be pretty good, though. +1 harm to undead enemies. I'm guessing that the Lord of Grim Coast is also an undead enemy. Okay. So come back to here. I'm going to take a quick break. This is fun, a little frustrating because I chose I chose a very uneven build with the shield and scorch and like the tossed flame thing. I like it. It's a little rough at times. I think the longsword is like more dependable. But it doesn't have the range that the tossed fire thing does. So I think when we get back, I'm going to run over here. I'm going to run all the way over to here to fight that knight. And then if I do, I get the special ring, and then I go over here and I try to fight the boss. So thank you to everybody who's been hanging out. I am playing RUNE by GilaRPGs, aka Spencer Campbell. That game, RUNE, is on Kickstarter right now. It's fully funded, so it's going to happen. And I am playing the Grim Coast realm, which is the kind of quick start realm written by Spencer. And I'm going to come back and try to finish it up. Thank you for coming by and hanging out. The kids are asleep. Have a good time at the Sifo Ride-In. And for everybody else, I will be back in a couple minutes with more of RUNE, Grim Coast. It's grim. I'm back. Let's go. It's time to fight. When is... Oh, back this way. Lost night is on 7 during the day. Last night, during night. So during fighting the night at night, B1, B4, B1, A4 is basically the same. But if I fight them at night, I will get the Necromancer's key. But it's, so let's look. Okay. Daytime 1, daytime 2, daytime 3, daytime 4. Now it's nighttime, cross, nighttime 2. So it's nighttime 2, and I'm fighting the night. Okay. Let's pull this off. It is a 1v1, thankfully, because I have defeated the Necromancer. So you are going to be, you're what, B2? Is that right? Go all the way to 7. Lost night, 7 at night. Permaterrain is D1 through D4. Necromancer is B1, and I start A4. B1, A4, and then all of D is blocked. Okay. So let's do... Everybody knows that trapezoids are the symbol for blocked terrain, right? You learned that in elementary school math? No, I just made it up. It was what I saw. So I can't go that way, so there's less maneuverability, but I do start a little bit away from the Lost Night. The Lost Night, it has 8 health. It can attack the same and adjacent, and when it has 4 or less health, they have additional range, so they can attack at 2 spaces. When the dead broke the gates, a lone knight fled the keep. 2 lives their sword would take. So they can move 1, harm 2, move 2, harm 1, block 1, harm 2, block 2, move 3, harm 3. That's rough. Actually, let's stay here. Because now it's fight time. So I do have 2 stamina and they have 1. Because every enemy just has 1 that I've seen so far. So the knight gets a 2 and I get a 1. So the knight will do something. Oh, except I have 2 stamina. I rolled a 2. I still don't do anything. So on a 2, the knight moves 1, move 1, harm 3. But they're still too far away. So good luck for me. Knight gets a 1. I get a 4 and a 5. 1, 4, 5. Okay. And that is move 1, harm 3. Move 1, harm 3. Yikes. But I got a 4 and a 5. So I could 4. Yep, 4 and a 5. So I move here. I take 3, block 2, and do 2. So I take 1. Come on. 7. And I do 2. The knight. That's the boss. Lost Knight. Knight is at 6 of 8. Come on, make it legible. Thank you. So now the knight gets a 1, and I get a 2 and a 3. I can do something on the 3. We're reaching the point where I think there may be too many things in this affinity document. Starting to get some lag. Two. On a 2. They move 1, harm 2. Move 1, harm 2. But that means that I get to block 2, and then I move. So now I'm back with some maneuverability. They're not at half health, so they don't have extra range. So again, knight gets a 4, I get a 3 and a 5. 4, 3, and a 5. On a 4, the knight gets move 2, harm 1, block 1. So they move next to me, harm 1, block 1. Or they move onto me is the most precise thing. And on a 3, I get to block 2, and I could do damage in the row, right? 3 and a 5. 3 is nothing on the flame, so. But they block, so they only take 1. They're at 5. 5 is not quite half health. Knight gets a 4. I get a 4 and a 6. So 5, you're at 5 health, right? Knight gets a 4. That is, come on, move 2, harm 1, block 1. Okay, I'm going to do the incinerate here. They move up on me. I get a 4 and a 6, which means I move 1. I get block 2, and then I do, come on, 6, 4. Let's do all the math here so that I can show what I'm doing. So block 2, and then this. So I'm adjacent. I do 5 damage, and I take 2 harm. I block the enemy's harm. So I got down to 5, but then I do 5. The enemy blocks 1. So they are at 1 of 8. So I finally do the big immolation on this enemy. They get a 4, and I get a 3 and a 4. And then you become a 3 instead of a 4. So on a 3 or a 4, I can block, and on this, I can dodge. So they move up on me. I move away. They harm 1 and block 1. I have block 2, and then I do 2 to all same and adjacent. I do 2, they block 1, they have 1 health left. I defeat the knight. So, lost knight. Character traits, strikeout. So, I've defeated the lost knight. Yay, I did it! And then, when I defeat the lost knight when I defeat them at night, I will do this. This is going to be an X. It's too big. This goes to here. I've done the fight. I get the Necromancer's Key and the Sun-Scorched Ring. So here's the Sun-Scorched Ring. And now I'm going to add a page. Or, okay, I can just go to here, paste, Sun-Scorched Ring. If I'm at less than half health, I do +1 harm to undead enemies. And I have the Necromancer's Key. Let's bring this down, 12-point font, fast 1. Necromancer's key. Key. Great. Perfect. So we go back to here. But then it becomes day. So basically I bounce back and forth between sites 7 and 6 again. I do 1, 2, it becomes day. I learn. The lost knight fights back a cloaked assailant. The two look at you, wanting your corpse for different reasons. Oh, that's the knight and the necromancer were fighting. Fade journal, the last entry, swearing an oath against any that defy the grave. First the traitor, then treason. So the knight, the traitor, is the traitor the rune lord of this realm? I might win this yet. Yeah, so I gain +1 lore. So I go up to lore 3. No, don't do that. Lore 3. And that is day 2. And this fight is also done because the enemy is done. Because it's unique. Yep, so I cannot travel during the day. So I guess I just have to bounce back and forth 1, 2 until it's night again. But then I can transit back to space 4. So I do bounce, bounce. Now I go back to 4, and it's 4 during the daytime. Star charts is for moving, so I don't need that. From 4, I go to 2, and it's 1 into day. At 2, there should be a fight. Okay, there's not a fight during the day. There's a ghoul and skeletons at night, and I have the siphon spell. I don't think that I need that. So instead, I'm going to go to 5, and that's the second chunk of day. So this is theoretically where the boss lives. Graven Keep. Looming castle atop a hill, keeping an eye on the entire realm. Looks more like a tomb than a home. The Graven Keep holds this realm's rune lord. Once they have been slain, carve their rune into your being, and your time in this realm has ended. Delve. You must fight your way to the rune lord by completing 2 fights. Okay. So, if I have lore 2+, I have to do 1 fight. If I have lore 4+, I can avoid all of the enemies. So that tells me that I'd want to... So do I want to do the other fight? I'm going to go do the other fight, and then if I die, I can skip all the other fights to fight the Rune Lord. Well, I would still have to fight something to get my loot. 3 skeletons, 2 zealots, and 2 skeletons. Okay, so 2 fights and then... Okay, so the fight you skip is this one. 3 skeletons. Is 3 skeletons worse than 2 skeletons and a ghoul? It's not worse. So I'd rather do this fight, which means that I should just go now. Yep. So, because I only have lore 3. So if I had if I'd used the Necromancer's key to get that siphon spell after doing the fight, then I could get that other lore. Is that how that works? Right. So ghoul and skeletons. Have I done that since I rested? I don't think I've done this since I rested. Yeah, I just kind of want to finish. So let's fight 3 skeletons at A1 through A3, and then I'm going to be at C2. Skeletons. A1, is it, which, how are they arrayed? They are A1 to A3. A3. 3 skeletons, alike in dignity. And I am at C2. Okay, C2. But this terrain is not here. This goes over here. 3 skelly dice, 2 me dice. And there's no difference in the Graven Keep between day and night. Yep. Okay. All right. Let's get these skellies and try to take no health. I guess, yeah, let's say that I went back home because I just want to get to the big fight. Because I don't have to do with any other fights to get to there, so I ran back to the sigil. 2, 3, 4, because the time of day does not matter for this area. Two, 3, 4. Now, if I remember correctly, 1 through 4 are identical for skeleton. 1 through 4, harm 1, or move 1, harm 1. So they advance. I roll a 3 and a 6. So I could do the flame. But I don't think I get to use a healing flask between the skeletons and the Lord because it's a delve action. Well, let's see, a delve is exploration. I think actually I would get to use a healing flask. But it would only kill 1 enemy. You must fight your way to the Rune Lord, Rune King. Okay. Trying to decide if it's worth like just nuking this one right away and taking 2 health. I think it is. So I got a 3 and a 6. So on a 3, I block 2. On a 6, I nuke this one. And I take 2 harm, which I have taken. Now 2 skeletons. The skeletons get 6 and 3. So red gets the 6, yellow gets the 3, because red goes first. It's been, yellow has been last. I get a 2 and a 6, so 2 does nothing. So you move 1, 2, come on, and you move 1. On a 6, I don't want to do nuke again because I would lose health. No, let me grab this one. That is the thing I want to do, yes. I move 1, block 2. I take no damage. Skeletons, 3 and a 5. 5. So you will move 1, harm 1. The second skeleton is move 1, harm 2. And I get 4 and a 6. Okay, so I can 4. So I can put the 6 in my block, and then I can put a 4 here to go here and do 2 damage to all same and adjacent, because I don't want to take the harm from both of them. So I do 2 to red. Red has 2, yellow has 4. Skeletons, 4 and 4. So they're both going to move 1, harm 2. Yep. 4. Okay, they're both move 1, harm 1. That's great. I get a 1 and a 5. So they do this. I do this. I put my 5 here, and I do 2 to each of them, and the red dies. Oh, that would make me... I would take harm, so that's not actually it. I have to put the 5 here because I got a 2. So I just block. Skeletons get 3 and a 4. Three and a 4. So this is both move 1, harm 1. And I get a 2 and a 5. I really need to not lose this health, so I keep blocking. 3 and a 5 for them. And 6 and 6 for me. All right, this is boring, actually. I like a lot about this game, but I have picked a bad build, and there's nothing in the game that says, like, you could go and pick other weapons, because it's a very limited thing. In a Souls game, I would have probably picked up other weapons. I maybe wouldn't have been able to start with this build. So I'm going to move these enemies away and say that it costs me 2 health. And I'm going to fight the boss. I think there's a tension between a tutorial realm and some stuff being like not as interesting because it's more basic. So I'm interested in playing another realm that is a little bit more complicated and see how that goes. But I am going to try to finish this up. Ruined King. A swirling storm in a night sky hangs eternally over a courtyard. An ancient armored form assembles itself before you, a spectral glow beneath the plate. Ruined King. Let's ignore that part that says Phase 2. So I start at A1, and Ruined King starts at C3. Or C4, sorry. I'm here, you're there, and then there's terrain here. Okay, let's stay away from that Phase 2 thing so I don't learn its secrets. So 7 health for this enemy. Oh, you know what? No, because I'm not at half health. I wasn't at half health before then. I am at half health now. But I said I was going to use my flask, which I'm going to. 6, so I'm at 6 of 8. So, Ruined King gets a 6, which is the best that they can get for now. Maybe they'll get a second die or something in the second phase. So 6 for you. And 2 dice for me. A 4 and a 3. That's not bad. I can do things with 4 and a 3. 3 and a 4. Okay. So let's see what enemy does. On a 6, move 2, harm 3, block 1. So you move 2. 1, 2. What is your range? Your range is same and adjacent. Okay. So you're going to do 3. I only have 1 move because 3 and a 4, and I can do this. So I cannot damage them, but they cannot damage me. So next, a 2 for them, a 2 and a 5 for me. A 2 for them means move 1, harm 2, block 1. Move 1. Okay, move 1, harm 1, block 1. And I get a 3 and a 4. So yeah, I can block and harm. This is a, nope, undo, 3 and a 4. 3 and a 4. They do 2 damage. I block 2 damage. I do 2 damage. They block 1 damage. So I do 1 damage. Okay. They get a 4. I get a 1 and a 6. 4. Boom. 6 and a 1. So they actually would have moved up on me, and then I would have switched places with them. So on a 4, they're going to move 4, harm 1. No, that's still a 4. So they move up on me. On a 6, I'm going to, let's see, because you block 1, or you block 2? No, harm 2. Harm 2, block 1. So if I just nuked, no, that's not great. So I'm going to put my 6 over here. So you move here, and I move there. We trade places again. This is like I'm doing dodge roll forward as the enemy moves forward and attacks me. So I'm just going to block again. They get a 2. I get a 2 and a 4. Same thing happens. We dance. They get a 5. I get a 3 and a 3. A 5 is move 4, harm 1, block 3. Harm 1, block 3. And on a 3, I block 3. So I don't take anything, but we're still dancing around each other. They get a 4. I get a 2 and a 3. We dance again. They get a 1. I get a 2 and a 2. Move 1, harm 2. So they get up on me now because I don't have anything. Or I guess I do get to move. But I don't have any block. So I take 2 harm. I run out of stamina. They catch up with me. Oh no. But now my Sun-Scorched Ring activates, and I do +1 harm to undead enemies. Fire magic was declared forbidden on the Grim Coast. There's flavor text. I need to use it. Fire magic was declared forbidden on the Grim Coast, just before the dead took the keep. The bearer of this ring is a traitor to the realm. Okay, so the knight was the traitor? Maybe? Okay. So yeah, now I'm down to 4. Here's the king, and here's me. Sorry. King gets a 1. I get a 1 and a 5. 1. And then a 1 and a 5. So, move 1, harm 2, block 1. Move 1. Harm 2, block 1. On a 1, I can't do anything. On a 5, I can move and block. So I will go ahead and do that. This is like the kind of boss fight where you have to really, really play everything just perfect because you're not leveled enough, and be really patient and wait for your moment. Enemy gets a 6. I get a 3 and a 3. This is not great for me. Okay. On a 6, move 2, harm 3, block 1. Okay, harm 3, block 1. On a 3 and a 3, I do get to move. Harm 3 means I take 1. Because I can't move away. Or actually, I guess I could move to here instead. Let's check that. Affinity is not happy. Let's see what happens if I take a few objects away. Okay. Harm 3, block 1. But if I move away, I'm still taking the harm. Yes, but then the fight looks a little bit different. Okay. King rolls off the table. King gets a 6. I get a 4 and a 6. Okay. So king moves on onto me, and we'll do 3 harm and block 1. I got a 4 and a 6. 4 and a 6. So I can put the 6 on the block, 4 on the damage. I move back. I will take 1, and then I will deal 3 minus 1 is 2. So I lose 1 and they lose 2. So that's a 4 of 7. And king gets a 5. I get a 3 and a 6. Okay. On a 5. Move 4, harm 1, block 3. So lots of block, not so much harm. So I can block 2. Yeah, because if I can, if I do this, I'm going to take damage and I'm going to die. And that doesn't do me any good. So I'm just going to move. You don't do as much harm. I don't do anything to you. We move on. King gets a 6. I get a 6 and a 5. That's not bad. Wish you'd rolled more poorly. So king comes to get me. Move 2, harm 3, block 1. And on a 5, I block 2, harm 2. So I move, I take 1, and I deal 3 minus 1. Nope, I don't have 21. So I do 2 to the king. So I'm almost done with first phase, but then I only have 1 health left. That's the thing. King gets a 3. I get a 1 and a 2. I think the king has got me. On a 3, move 1, harm 2, block 1. I have a 1 and a 2. I don't get any block. King moves out on me. I try to move away. King gets me. Okay. So I die. I do still have the ring. My computer is running slowly, unfortunately. So phase 2, 12 health, same adjacent or 2 spaces away, summon a skeleton, move 3, harm 4. Special, roll 2d6 and choose the highest for action set. Yikes. Yeah, I don't know that I can win this, especially after having having to do my fight thing. So erupting flame, crown of red would be handy, you know, doing a bunch of things. Cleave, I think crown of red and cleave and the shield sounds like a pretty good idea, but also look at that. That axe is also 4+. The longsword is 2+. Erupting flame is 4 through 6. Siphon is 1 hand, the range is adjacent and 2 spaces. So you can't use it in the same, but you can drain. That drain is really handy because you get the life from the enemy. So I could go back and do that fight to get drain, right? Where is the fight for drain? It is on number 2. Yeah, so I could go back during here at night, go to lore, that lets me skip the fight, and I gain the siphon spell, and I could use siphon instead of erupting flame. Drain 1, drain 2, deal harm, and recover that much health. So I think siphon would let me, siphon plus Sunscorched Ring is maybe the build that you need to beat the king here, or the build that I would need to beat the king here. So let's say that I did all of the rigmarole to do that, and then I did a fight to get my stuff back, and then I went and rested. Oops. Okay, and then I have siphon. I don't have my flask. It doesn't matter what time it is, what time it is. You start here, I start here. Or is it here? Let me double check, just to be fair. No. You start here. All right. This is the question, can I do this? Is this doable? So I have 4 lore at this point instead of 3, which means I skipped the fight. I only didn't do 1 fight, but I'm curious about being able to beat the boss. So that means what I am going to do is I'm going to take the Ruin King's stuff. Oh, come on. I'm going to take all of this and I'm going to copy it into here so that I don't have to switch between the things. All right. Oh. All right, so I need to grab. All right, undo, 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 paste. We're going to add pages. I'm going to add 2 pages. I'm going to paste this here. I'm going to go to here. I'm going to cut. I'm going to go to here. I'm going to paste. I'm going to go here. Great. Cut. Paste. So now I have the Ruin King without, I don't have to jump back and forth between different documents. So there's 7. Back to the beginning of the fight. Okay, I should drink water. Looking back, I think sacrificing that maximum health was not worth it. Because you can go to that place at nighttime and cross. But sometimes you make those choices in a game like this, right? And you just don't know what the long-term effect is going to be. So 5 for the boss, 4 and a 5 for me. First run is seldom the one, absolutely. I have one-shotted bosses before, but often it's been because I was kind of over-leveled for the region rather than because I'm just that good. Sometimes I have had a really good run and I beat a boss the first time, and that feels really good when I do it. I have to admit, it does feel really good. Move 4, harm 1, block 3. Nope, I don't need that. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at that. All the like. This is like when the enemy does the special jump attack at you in a Souls game, and you're like, whoa, and all you can do is run away. Well, here's the thing: adjacent in 2 spaces. Siphon is just that much better because I block and I drain, so I get a move for free. 1, 2 spaces away, I hit with drain 1. But they block. But I do 2 damage, right? Let's check the text on drain. Deal harm equal to drain value. So I do +1. So sorry. On a 5, you block 3. So I don't do anything. But I don't take the damage. Okay. 2 for the boss. 1 and a 2 for me. Ooh, this is bad. So on a 2, I'm just going to switch these so that this one is closer and I can see it more often. Here we go. Great. Okay, let's look at that. I can do that. Move 1, harm 2. Move 1, harm 2, block 1. I can't do anything, but I can move, so I don't take damage. 4 for them, 4 and 5 for me. Four and 5 is 4 and 5. 4 is move 1, harm 2, block 1. So on a 5, I get, really I need to get a 6 for that drain 2. Block 1, but I do drain 1, so I hit them for 1. But I don't need to gain the health yet. Okay. They get a 5. I get a 5 and a 6. That's pretty good for me. 5, but the 5 is your high block attack, unfortunately. So you move on me, and then I get a 5 and a 6. 5 is the same here. 6 is that. Drain 2 becomes drain 3, but you have 3 block, so I don't get through. 3 for you, 3 and 5 for me. Three for you is block 1. I have drain 1. So I ran away, let's say, to here. You come to where I am. I run back here. You harm 2. I block 2. I drain 2. You block 1. So I get 1 more on you. So I do less damage here, but there's better sustain on the siphon. And I can actually run away is the thing that I can do. So I need to remember that. 1 for the boss, and a 2 and a 3 for me. So a 1 for you is move 1, harm 2, block 1. On a 3, I move and block. So 4 for them, 6, and a 6 for me. Oh, great. So they move here. 6, yeah, because it's like a 2 for them. And double 6s for me. Means that I block their attack. I drain 3, they block 1, I get 2 on them. Okay, they get a 5, I get a 3 and a 6. 5, 3 and a 6. So this is a wash. I block their harm, they block mine. They get a 1, I get a 3 and a 4. 1, 3, and a 4. This one is a net 1 for me. They get a 6. I get a 3 and a 1. This is probably not a net. This is probably bad for me. And a 6 for you. 6 for you is move 2, harm 3, block 1. Okay, so you're on me. Harm 3, block 1. I can move and block, so I take 1. Come on. Let me mark this. Thank you. 7. Okay. 3 for the knight and for the king. 4 and 5 for me. 3, 4, 5. So they come here. I'm just going to move this way to make this visually more interesting for a little while. Harm 2, block 1. 5, these are 4 and 5, so this is move 1, block 1. You are there, so you block 1, I do drain 2, you take 1, and I gain 1 back. Nice. That drain is really making all the difference. Makes sense. The gear that you get in the realm is the thing you use against the boss. Is a very sensible game design kind of thing, because then you have to explore more of the region and do the various quests along the way, subquests along the way, to get the gear that you're going to need to beat the boss, which is the ring that does extra damage and the siphon spell that you use to like drain the life from an enemy. Makes sense. Boss gets a 6. I get a 3 and a 3. That's probably not going to be great for me, right? Undo, undo, undo. 3, 3, 6. On a 3, I can block. So I move down here. You chase me, or you come and get me, and then I run away. On a 6, you harm 3 and block 1. So I... Oh, right. I would have just... I didn't get to put myself to 7, so now I go back down to 6. But they don't have drain. Enemy gets 5. I get 2 and 2. This is the one that's bad for me. But on a 5, you only harm 1. So I go back down to 5. Oh, that extra damage thing is only if I'm at half health. So I did it wrong. The math is off. I don't know. I just want to keep going and see how I do against the boss phase. 1 for the boss, 2 and a 5 for me. One, 2, 5. Okay. So harm 2, block 1. I move. 5 is just block. 5 for the boss. Double 6s for me. 6. 6. The other thing I can do with my dice sometimes is I could add both dice together to do one thing, but it just hasn't been relevant. At least any time that I've remembered. So this is harm 1, block 3. This is all a wash because I block the harm, I do drain, but they have block. 1 for them, 6 and 2 for me. That's going to be another wash. I'm going to move here, they're going to move here. 2 for them, 5 and 4 for me. 4 for me. So block, drain, you move, I flee, you block 1, on a 5 I drain 1, but I'm not at half health, so wash. 5 for you, 4 and 5 for me, 4 and 5. That's another wash. Yeah, there's only a certain set of combinations of rolls that produce anything because of my block and his block. 5 and a 2 and a 3 for me. That is still nothing. All right. Hey, look, I beat the first. I beat the first phase. What happens now? Let's go back to here now. Phase 2. Same adjacent 2 spaces, 12 health. Okay. Phase 2. Okay. I don't think we move anything for phase 2. I'm just gonna switch which one of these is on the bottom so that I can see them. So this becomes much more consequential because their move goes down, but their range goes up. And they get 2 dice and choose which thing they want to do. So the king gets a 3 and a 1. Those are the same for the king. Whoa. And I get a 2 and a 3. 2 and a 3. So I can block, move 1, harm 3. I can block, but I can't prevent all that harm. But now I am at half health. And I get my bonus. King gets a 5 or a 6. You want a skeleton. Here's a skeleton, and I lose. Like, I don't think I can win with them getting skeletons. This is really hard. Very hard enemy. Sunscorched Ring, +1 harm to undead enemies. Is it supposed to be this stalematey? I don't know that it is. Sunscorched Ring, Lore, Sunscorched Ring, Lost Knight, Necromancer, Starter. Okay, so Starter, if I had the Longsword instead, I'd be able to do harm 1 on a 2, move 1, harm 2 on a 3 to 5, move 1, harm 3 on a 6, harm 3. That kind of breaks some ties, right? Great Axe on a 5, harm 3, 6, harm 3, and cleave. Cleave, cleave. You do damage to, you do 1 harm to enemies adjacent to the target. So if I started with the shield and the Great Axe, I'd be able to break more ties. Erupting Flame, you know, it's got that amazing bonus of being able to do damage to anybody in your row. Maybe if I took Great Axe and Erupting Flame, I would be a lot more vulnerable, but with the Striding Boots, I would still be able to move around, and I would have a lot more damage output. So maybe that's better. Crown of Red is a utility item, so you could take either the Strider Boots or the Crown of Red. When the Crown of Red, if there are enemies in at least 2 adjacent spaces, 2 spaces adjacent to you, the engraved, you do +2 harm and take +1 harm this round. So that's another way to break ties, but you also take some damage. Let's go back and look at all of the places in the Grim Coast to make sure I didn't miss anything. Sigil is nothing. Village, Lore, Healing Vial. Necromancer's Key gives you Lore and the Siphon spell. Tree, Navigator's Pack, Lore, Hidden Path. Fights, sacrifice health, get Lore. Boathouse, Star Charts. If you do the fight at night, you can go. You don't even need any Lore to do that. You just need Lore for the Star Charts. Graven Keep. That's the boss area. You fight or more fights. Skeleton, Zealot, King, Camp, Necromancer's Key, Lore +1, Lost Knight. If you beat the Knight, get the Scorched Ring, get the Necromancer's Key, Lost Knight, Necromancer. If you have the key, then you get the Siphon spell. Okay, yep, that's all the things. I don't know what this is. It's just a bit. So yeah, I think I understand this as a starter realm because it's not very complicated. You get one cool secret path. You can run around a fair bit. you get so you get one additional attack, one additional kind of weapon that's a spell, Siphon. If I were giving notes on this, I would say that it might make sense to scatter all 4 of these starter items, all of these starter weapons around this realm, so that if you find that your build doesn't work, you have more than one option for changing it without having to restart. Where with my Erupting Flame and Shield, I could, okay, I beat this one fight and now there's a longsword, and I go, oh, I didn't realize that this Erupting Flame is so limited, where I'd have to get a 4+ to use it, and so I switch out to the longsword. In something like Dark Souls or anything like that, you get options pretty quickly if in order to be able to adjust your build without having to restart the game. Are your options great? No. Does it make sense to give as many different items in especially a starter realm as the number of stuff you get in Dark Souls? Absolutely not. I'm not calling for that. Dark Souls and Souls-likes do tend to have consumable items, which you can use to kind of break a stalemate, and that's maybe something to think about. In Grim Coast, like, you've got the consumables, there's one healing flask, but you can't use flasks during combat. There's the Navigator's Pack, which lets you manipulate the day-night cycle. I like that. I didn't really end up having to use it because I was playing a little loose. It's fine. Everything else was a key item. If there was like a firebomb or a Molotov cocktail that you could use, there was like a consumable and it did damage, or if there were a consumable that would let you manipulate your die, or a consumable that would give you extra move, a consumable that would give you +1 stamina for 3 turns. Like, oh, okay, that's really powerful, but it's consumable, so you have to pick the right time to use it. Because this is a starter realm, I understand that you don't probably want additional complexity, or not that much more complexity. You don't want that many more things to keep track of. But I am curious to hear how other playtesters did in this fight, or did in this realm. Like, did it take people 3 or 4 tries to beat the Ruined King? And were they just playing in shorter sessions, so they weren't like kind of tired of it? Because I've been playing for 3.5 hours. Maybe other people have more patience. Other people maybe were playing faster because they weren't playing on stream, and so they weren't slowing down to explain stuff as I was at the beginning of the game. Like, they're in that last hour, I'm just rolling dice, saying what's happening, and I'm going boom, boom, boom pretty fast. If I were playing on paper, I could go even faster, for sure. If I were using tools that I was a little bit more familiar with for keeping track of things, I think I could also go faster. My computer, I think, running the stream, broadcasting to Twitch, seeing Twitch, and running Affinity with a couple of pages was taxing the resources a little bit, and so I was getting a bit of a lag, which was adding to some frustration. So that's really not the game's fault in any way, shape, or form. That's more on me. But I think the fact that the king has all these block numbers in the first phase really slows that down. Now, you'll see that in the second phase, the king's block goes away. So you can do more damage, but you're getting, the king is getting skeletons, those harm numbers are huge, and the king's range is up. So everybody's getting burned down really fast in phase 2. The question then is, can you do 12 damage before you lose all of your health? Often 8 health, because you took the permanent 2 to get the lore the way that I did. So I think it's doable. It's absolutely doable. But something that this game doesn't have that Souls-likes do is there is no way to grind in RUNE in order to just have better stats. You can go around and explore stuff to get all of the potential different items. Theoretically, in a broader game of RUNE, I could say, well, I'm just going to leave this realm, and I'm going to go do another realm, and I'm going to come back. for this stream, I would have to go and download something and like do a lot of things. So I'm not going to do that. So I understand that if all of the realms that are written by Spencer and by every other person are considered in the game right now, if I'm using kind of my video game brain, I could say, okay, I don't like this scenario for right now. I'm going to go do something else. It's going to have a different flavor. It's going to have different mechanics. And then maybe I'll come back and I'll do Grim Coast after my character has leveled up. But if Grim Coast is the tutorial zone, or the tutorial realm for the Kickstarter, and for kind of people who are playing, yeah, I think it may be time for me to buy some more RAM, because I have I think a 2080, so the card is probably okay. It may be my RAM that's more the problem, because I've not upgraded my RAM since a friend built this computer for me, and that was in basically a week before lockdown in March of 2020. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to share some of my perspectives on the GilaRPGs Discord, trying to be as productive as I can in terms of like, here was my experience, here are the things that were frustrating, here are the things that were really cool, here's kind of what I got to at the end of the stream as I was kind of like trying to talk through things and get a sense of the math, and what I feel like for me would be stuff that's like quality of life improvements. The thing with giving feedback that is not just, here's my experience, but here's what I think you should do, is it takes a lot more skill and understanding and perspective to give useful feedback of here is what you should do. Here is what you could do is like presenting options in case the designer has not already thought about that. Often the most valuable feedback you can give as a playtester is, here was my experience and here's how I felt. Here's how this worked. Here's how this didn't work. And that, because that lets them go, okay, my intention was X, but this person's experience was Y. Let me look at what they said that they did and see, are they misunderstanding something? Did they miss something? Is the math just, did the math just not line up for them? Is it like, should I just decide that this game, like, I don't often play Souls games for 3 hours at a stretch. I often play for 60 to 90 minutes, maybe 2 hours. And then like, that's enough for me. So maybe this game is kind of like that, where if I stopped now and I came back later in this week and I go, okay, I have all the gear, I know how this fight goes, and I'm just going to grind it out. And I'm like, basically do a boss grind, where I go and get the thing that gives me the lore so that I don't have to do any fights between me and the king. And all I'm doing is the king fight over and over and over again. Maybe that's part of how the game is designed to work. Yeah, I think I have 16 gigabytes of RAM. It is DDR RAM, I believe. So I think it's like 4 times 2. So yeah, I may get another couple of sets of those and go from 16 to 32 and see how that works for some things. It's actually not that expensive last time I looked. I thought about getting the RAM and then decided, okay, I'm just going to get the SSD that I need to replace on this and hope that that works, instead of like, oh, okay, well, what if I have RAM? Yeah, 2 8 gig, that probably, I think that makes sense because it's 2 pieces of hardware. I think that is exactly right, a RUNE DDR4 RAM. So yeah, like, I played for 3.5 hours. I got frustrated. 3.5 hours into a Souls game, I get frustrated. I set the game down. I go do something else. I come back 2 days later. I go and do the boss fight. It takes me about a half an hour or 1 or 2 runs in the boss fight to remember how it all works. And then it maybe takes me another half an hour to an hour to beat the boss. you know, if we're thinking about this as comparative to fighting Margit in Elden Ring, then maybe that's about right. Because a lot of people, Margit was really a hard block. It was like that boss was a hard check, where you had to either have leveled a fair amount so that your stats were just a lot stronger. Yeah, match brands and speeds. Thank you. I think I do have 2 more slots, and those 2 slots are empty. So if I pull the ones that I have to make sure to note brand and speeds on the label, I may just be able to order new ones. I can also just check the order that I made and double check with my friend, so that I can get the right SKU of exactly the right thing to order to go and get those. And it should not be hard to install it, because I just had to install the new SSD, and so now I know where the stuff is. And installing RAM is very easy, is my understanding. So, yeah. I like this overall. I don't know that I think that this scenario is all the way cooked. And part of it is, like Beleon Gambetta said, I picked an unusual build because I went with, I did my Pyromancer, Thrown Fire, and Shield. And that created some difficulties for me because I don't get anything on 1s or 2s, but I did have that movement thing, which was that was absolutely essential. Without that, my build would have fallen apart really quickly. So if I had taken, because I would have had the other utility item and done extra damage. So it's hard to say for sure on that. But I like that you can go across for free at nighttime, and that, if you beat the Necromancer over, I think in 4, either 3 or 4, you don't have to fight the Necromancer and the Knight over at 7, because they have unique enemies. I got some strong senses. I got some strong bits of flavor from the area. It's not too many different points, because you can ignore 6 and 7 if you really want. You could do 1, 2, 5. You just have to do the extra fights every time, which is, that fits for the vibe of the game. Sometimes you just run into the boss right away, and then you fight them, and sometimes you win. But I think what I'm more likely to do if I do another Rune stream, and which would either be this coming week or, in another couple of weeks, is I would pick another realm to just have a totally different experience and see whether the vibe on that was more fun, or if I just need to switch my build and things like that. So I'm trying to kind of talk through things, be as charitable to the game as possible, because I think it's doing a lot of cool stuff. Just watching Spencer play a different realm that he did last week, that was 3.5 hours or 4 hours, and that was really fun just watching. So that, the game is clearly doing cool stuff if watching it is fun. I may have just done exactly the wrong things, or I need to have more patience, which is often a thing that is my experience playing these games, where the amount that I'm willing to be patient and the amount that sometimes the game wants don't line up. When I was playing Elden Ring, I got 80 hours into the game, and I was like, I'm ready to be done. There's a whole bonus chunk of the game that I didn't do, and then there's one other region that I didn't really do much of anything with because I didn't get to it, and it's kind of off to the side. I'm not the type of person who, even in a game that I'm otherwise liking, is super, super, super completionist, give me 100% of everything, except in very specific circumstances. So that's that. I overall am still very glad that I backed. I am excited about this game. I think it has a lot of cool potential. I hope that did not just make audio hell for you, because I bumped into my pop filter cable. I like the flavor. I'm excited, honestly, to make my own realm. or to make a realm with Meg, because Meg has also played Souls games, and it's a thing that we've enjoyed together. I think it'd be fun to make a set of realms, all like to basically make a whole world worth of stuff and have like, oh, here's some interstice, here's an overall story. There's an item over in this section that makes something over here way easier, or makes the lore for something over here make more sense, to create a whole vibe for something, adding consumables. Like there's so many cool things that you can do with this just by drawing on the tradition of Souls-like games. And so I think I think Spencer has done a very good job of thinking about what is foundational for a game that does this kind of stuff, because this RUNE release is just the beginning. For GilaRPGs' game Light, there were like 2 whole seasons of supplements, kind of more like was it season pass kind of a thing, where you have the main thing, and then cool, thank you, Rudno. You have the main thing, and then there's DLC, and then there's more DLC, and then there's expansion stuff, and then there's fan mods. And it makes sense to not overcommit to too much work right away. I imagine that this Kickstarter doing, let's see, where is the Kickstarter now? So with 48 hours to go, the Kickstarter is at $18,690 USD with 817 backers. Original goal, 4,000 USD. So more than 4 times funded. 817 people who would potentially keep getting more RUNE stuff. I think this Kickstarter has proven that there's a market for this, and that it makes sense to develop what you've got, and then figure out what people are interested in, and then keep developing. And that's great. Like, because then you can make 4 things over the course of a year, and that's 4 different times that you're going to get paid as a designer. You're staying engaged with your audience. You're reacting to what people are telling you. But yeah, like the fact that I'm still excited about this game after having some notable frustrations playing with this demo zone, I think is an indication of how much potential I see in it. And the fact that there's already a healthy fan development and design community around the game because of the community building work that Spencer has done with previous games. Like there's 6 other realms I could play right now if I wanted to keep going. I would just go to the GilaRPGs Discord, which is free to be on, I believe, and go to the stuff that people have linked there. And if I wanted to go to the Discord right now and say like, hey, I'm having these frustrations with Grim Coast, I bet people would be able to say, oh, well, here's what I did. So that means that there are people who, like the Dark Souls community, are around to help and encourage one another. And that's really cool, because part of what I think is fun about TTRPGs and game design is the social stuff. So cool game. Not my greatest experience with it, but I think I can have other good experiences with it later. So again, I'm going to say, here is that link. That is kickstarter.com/projects/thegilaboy/rune-2. And then I'm also going to say that tomorrow I am doing another Valorword GM stream, but this one is different. This is going to be the GM turn, which is a special thing that Court of Blades does, where you basically set the big projects of the other 5 major houses in the setting using some cool like automation tools. You have to do some of your own creative work, but there's fun, intricate charts. And I'm going to be joined by a couple of Drakes themselves. That is, a couple of Drakes is the design team of Sean and Navi Drake, who are the creators of Court of Blades. And that is going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, but it's going to be over at twitch.tv/Arvan because that Arvan Elleron, aka Greg, that's the channel where we are doing the kind of live sessions of Valorword. And so some of the GM streams things that I'm doing are more like bonus content. This is more like, this is a cool thing. We're talking with the designers. I don't want to hide the designer stuff behind a pay gate. So it's going to be over there tomorrow afternoon. I'm really excited about it. I've been communicating with the Drakes via email as they've been supporting us with like graphics and other stuff. And so it'll be fun to hang out and chat with them and talk about like GMing and what makes for good stuff for a game of Court of Blades. And I'm excited about that. So now I'm going to pop over to Twitch main, and I'm going to see who is streaming to see who we should go and raid. Bum, 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 bum. Just going to make sure that these other people who I know are not streaming. They are in fact not streaming. Okay, so yeah. Oh, Darksaber is streaming over GOG, but they've got 129 people, so they're probably fine. Let's go raid the compound again. So this is a team who does ttrpgs. Looks like they're playing Tyranny of Dragons live right now. They came and raided Arvin Elleron one time when we were, I think, playing Fractal Spire. So let's go over and say hi to them, check them out real quick. And otherwise, I will see you all tomorrow over at Greg's channel at Arvin Elleron, or some other time where I will be back here playing video games, or possibly more RUNE. Now I have to go back and do my boop, 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 boop. I need the commands. What I really need is a third screen. I think I may be at that point where I need that 3 monitor life.